What I've done here is I've raised this table up on blocks. I've put my breadboard in under it, clamped my breadboard down so it will not move. And I've marked marks everywhere that there's a cut and a break. So now I can transfer that onto my breadboard end. I'll take my clamps off. Move my breadboard out. So now I'm just making these lines go all the way across. So now to show you what it looks like from my angle, see everywhere there's a cut, I've got a mark. There's a mark for this shoulder, there's a mark for this shoulder, and this shoulder, and so forth all the way down. So my board should be right at 1.5 inches thick. 3/4 would be dead center. So there's my center line. Do another mark that's right at 1/2 inch. These will be 1 inch deep. The wide ones will be 3.5 inch deep. The 1 inch deep covers the little shoulder here. The 3.5 covers the entire tenon. And let's just remember that we flipped it. So this will be 1, 3.5, 1, 3.5, 1, 3.5, 1. It's important to remember this. The middle tenon needs to be tight. It's going to get glued. The rest of them will not have glue, and they'll need to be a little bit loose. So I'm going to write myself a little reminder: tight and glue. So this one right here, I want to stay within those lines pretty good. The rest of them I'm going to fudge just a little bit, a little 1/4 inch out to the side, because how wood movement's going to work, humidity is going to get in these pores. These pores are going this way, so they're going to want to expand sideways. Your middle board will be the anchor. Everything else will expand from it. So these boards want to move, shift this way, shift this way, shift this way. This is why we're making a breadboard. This entire concept of wood movement is a reason for a breadboard. The breadboard is not just to make it look better. It's not just for aesthetics. I understand some people think that a table without them just doesn't look finished. I tend to agree, but it has a mechanical and structural function. You cannot stop wood movement. If you try to stop it, you're going to end up with splits and failures. If you allow for it and plan for it, then you're going to set yourself up for success. And that's why we're doing everything the way we're doing. I've got my breadboard ends fitted, milled out. The mortise is complete. Let's see if I can slide this off. Let me show you guys. If you look in here, there are several places where it's only 1 inch, and then there's several places where it's 3.5 inch. This is the jig that I used for riding out my mortise. So it worked out pretty good. CRB7. It comes in 2 parts. That's the downfall of it. First you got to get the base, then you get your runners here. Just ride that on there. I had this in a vise on the end of the table. The rods fit right into the router base. And just ride it along once you find your center. To get that done and go 3.5 inches deep, I started out with a spiral upcut bit. Did my 1 inch deep all the way across. I had it marked where I needed it to be 3.5 inches deep. And then I went to this really long bit that I have here. And this is straight cut. I'm still looking for a way to do it better. I still had to do a good bit of cleaning up with a hammer and chisel to get down there in the bottom. And the reason why you see all this extra right here is because when I'm dry fitting these, and I get my rubber mallet, this gives me a nice long end to hit on where I don't have to worry about damaging something close to the table. We're looking at the bottom of the table. Both my breadboard ends are dry fitted on, and now I'm going to mark the placement of my dowels. When I drill these holes in the tenons, I have marked with my drill bit the exact center. I'm going to go towards the table about a 1/16 of an inch when I drill my hole. So I have holes in all my tenons now. This middle one I'm not going to touch. It's going to stay tight. These other ones I'm going to elongate. You can do it using a rasp. You can do it using a drill bit. I'm starting with the center dowel. It gets glue all the way through it like we've mentioned before. The rest of the dowels only get glue on half of it. They only get half on the tenon side of the breadboard. They're already pressed in halfway, so all I gotta do is put a little glue on the very top of it and then finish pushing them in. Clamping these is just a little extra added precaution. It's probably not needed, especially using the drawboard technique where we punched in the dowels off-centered a little bit, which really sucked in the breadboard against the table. But hey, a little extra added insurance never hurt anybody, right? Now I'm using my flush cut saw after the glue is dried to just trim off the excess of the dowels, and this is the final step of making these breadboard ends. After this is done, that's it. For me, I still have the step of making that final cut to cut the table to size, but if you didn't do it that way, after this, you're done. Congratulations. And right here, you see me look at the camera to check the camera angle, and I still walk in front of the camera and block the camera angle. One day I'll get good at this stuff. Till then, bear with me.